3 tenants filed ordinary maintenance requests. Each one was closed, but the record showed someone knew the problem was still there. Story 1. The Sleeping Ticket. The first ticket arrived while Lena was asleep. She saw it the next morning after her alarm rang, and the maintenance portal showed one unread notification. Request number 5128. Bedroom ceiling light flickering. Status: resolved. Notes: resident asleep during inspection. Fixture stable. Lena read it twice. She had not filed a request. Her bedroom light had not flickered, and no one had permission to enter while she slept. She opened the attached photo. It showed her ceiling light taken from the foot of her bed. At the bottom of the frame, blurred but unmistakable, was the curve of her blanket. Someone had stood in her bedroom while she was sleeping. The building manager, Mr. Dalal, answered on the third call. "It's probably a system error," he said. "How does a system error take a photo from inside my room? Maintenance must have uploaded it to the wrong unit. It's my ceiling. We'll look into it." By noon, the ticket disappeared from her portal. Not closed. Gone. That made it worse. Lena put a chair under her front door handle that night. She wedged a bottle against the balcony door and taped a strand of hair across the service panel below the bathroom sink. In the morning, the chair was still there. The bottle was untouched. The strand of hair was broken. A new ticket had appeared. Request number 5136. Bathroom pipe vibration. Status: resolved. Notes: entered through service access. Resident not disturbed. The attached photo showed the inside of her bathroom cabinet. Her toothbrush was visible on the counter. Lena called maintenance directly. A young man named Rafi picked up. "I need to know who entered my apartment last night," she said. Rafi sounded confused. "We didn't have a night call for 5D. There is a resolved ticket." "What number?" She told him. He went quiet. Then he said, "That ticket isn't in our queue. I'm looking at it. It may be management only." "What does that mean?" He lowered his voice. "It means we can see the result, not the assignment." That evening, Lena went to the office. Mr. Dalal met her at the counter. "We checked," he said. "No staff entered your unit." "Then who uploaded the photos?" "Sometimes old images attach incorrectly." Lena placed printed screenshots in front of him. "In this one, my toothbrush is still wet." His expression changed, but only for a second. He slid the papers back. "I'll reset your portal password." That night, Lena did not sleep in her bedroom. She sat on the sofa with the lights off, and her phone camera pointed toward the hallway. At 2:13 a.m., the bathroom wall clicked. The small service panel under the sink shifted inward. It did not open out into her apartment. It opened the other way. A thin line of darkness appeared around its edge, as if someone behind the wall had pulled it from the other side. Lena kept filming. The panel stayed open for 7 seconds. Then it closed. Her phone buzzed. Request number 5141. Resident sleep obstruction. Status: pending. Attached photo available. The photo showed her living room from high in the corner, angled down at the sofa. She was in it, sitting upright in the dark. The note beneath the photo read, "Resident awake outside approved sleep area." She ran into the hallway and banged on her neighbor's door until an old woman in 5C opened it with the chain on. "Did you hear anything in the walls?" Lena asked. The woman looked past her toward Lena's door. Then she said, "Don't sleep on the sofa." "What?" "They don't like adjusting the root." The woman closed the door. In the morning, Lena went back to the office, but Mr. Dalal was not there. A temporary assistant said he had taken emergency leave. Lena asked for her unit file. The assistant refused. So Lena waited until he went to the copier, leaned over the counter, and photographed the screen. It showed her apartment profile. Unit 5D. Occupancy 1. Night access approved. Sleep zone, bedroom. Service route, bathroom panel to bedroom wall. There was a maintenance note from 5 years earlier. "Do not wake resident unless resident wakes first." Below that, another note. "If resident relocates sleep area, submit obstruction ticket." Lena searched the previous tenant's name from an old mailbox label scratched inside the slot. A woman named Kavita Rao had lived in 5D before her. Lena found one public post from 3 years ago. It said, "My landlord keeps saying no one is entering, but every morning my blanket is tucked in differently." The post had one reply. "Which building?" Kavita's account never answered. That evening, Lena packed a bag but did not leave. Something in her resisted giving the apartment the shape it wanted: bed occupied, lights out, resident compliant. At 1:58 a.m., she carried her mattress into the bathroom and placed it against the service panel. Then she sat facing it with a kitchen knife in her lap. At 2:13, the panel clicked. It pushed once against the mattress. Then again. A notification appeared. Request number 5149. Service access blocked by resident. Status escalated. For 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then someone knocked on her front door. Not hard, professionally. 3 even knocks. Lena looked through the peephole. No one stood in the hallway. Her phone buzzed again. New note added. Front access denied. Resident observing entry point. The knock came again, but this time it was from her bedroom. 3 even knocks from inside the wall behind her bed. The next day, Mr. Dalal returned. He told Lena the portal issue had been fixed. All unusual requests had been removed. Her locks were changed. Her password was reset. Everything was marked resolved. 2 weeks later, the apartment listing for 5D was updated online. Lena had not moved out, but the floor plan had changed. The bedroom now showed a narrow gray strip behind the wall, a labeled maintenance corridor. And in the corner beside the bed, one small note. The resident must stay reachable during the scheduled overnight service. Story 2. Preventive maintenance. Rachel Palmer filed one normal request in her first month at Willow Creek Apartments. The balcony rail outside Unit 2F had started to wobble whenever she leaned on it. Not badly, just enough that she could feel the bolts shift under the paint. She submitted the request through the tenant portal on Monday morning. By lunch, it was marked resolved. Notes: preventive repair completed. Resident injury avoided. Rachel was home all morning. No one had come by. She stepped onto the balcony and touched the rail. It still moved. She called the leasing office. A man named Derek answered, cheerful in the way property managers became when hiding something. Sometimes the system closes tickets early, he said. It says repair completed. I'll reopen it. Why does it say injury avoided? There was a pause. That's standard language. At 5:40 that evening, Rachel received another portal notification. New document attached to request. It was not a photo. It was an invoice. Balcony rail stabilization, Unit 2, F, emergency labor, approved. Paint transfer on resident's left palm, documented. Fall risk, contained. Rachel looked at her left hand. There was a white smear of paint across her palm from touching the rail. She had not told anyone. The next morning, maintenance arrived. The technician, Earl, tightened 2 bolts and asked her to sign on his phone. Rachel read the work summary before touching the screen. Resident advised not to test railing again. I didn't say I was going to test it, she said. Earl did not look up. Just sign that I was here. After he left, Rachel checked the request history. The balcony ticket was gone, but an internal tab briefly appeared before the page refreshed. Preventive maintenance log. She clicked fast enough to open it. There were 7 work orders under her unit. She had submitted only 1. Replace cracked bathroom mirror. Patch dent in entry door. Clean blood from laundry room threshold. Reset smoke alarm after resident reports voice. All marked pending. Rachel took screenshots before the tab vanished. For the rest of the day, she moved carefully through the apartment, refusing to touch anything on the list. The bathroom mirror was fine. The entry door had no dent. The smoke alarm was silent. At 6:12 p.m., someone knocked. Rachel checked the peephole. No one stood outside. She opened the door a few inches. A grocery bag sat on the mat. Not hers. The receipt showed another name, but the apartment number was 2F. When she bent to pick it up, the hallway door at the far end slammed shut. Rachel jumped back and hit her own entry door with her shoulder. The inside panel dented inward. Her phone buzzed. Preventive maintenance log updated. Patch dent in entry door. Status resolved. Resident impact confirmed. Rachel did not sleep much that night, not because anything moved, but because nothing had to. The apartment only needed to wait for her to match the paperwork. The next morning, she went to the leasing office with printed screenshots. Derek stopped smiling when he saw them. Where did you get this? From my account. You shouldn't have access to preventive logs. Why do they describe things before they happen? They don't, Rachel pointed to the entry door line. That appeared before the dent. Derek placed the pages face down. I can transfer you to another unit. No, I want these deleted. His voice lowered. Deletion creates gaps. Gaps in what? He looked toward the back office. In the record. Rachel left without another word. That afternoon, she called the city housing department. They could send an inspector for the balcony rail, but not for software concerns. The earliest appointment was Friday. By Thursday, the mirror line still sat in her screenshots. Replace cracked bathroom mirror. Rachel stopped using that bathroom. She brushed her teeth in the kitchen sink and kept the bathroom door closed. At 3:03 p.m., while she was making coffee, the smoke alarm chirped once. Then a woman's voice came from it, flat and low. Do not look in the bathroom. Rachel froze. The alarm chirped again. Her phone buzzed. Reset smoke alarm after resident reports voice. Status: resolved. She had not reported it. The bathroom door was still closed. Under it, a thin line of light appeared, although the bathroom light had been off for 2 days. Rachel walked to the door and put her hand on the knob. Then she remembered the log, the mirror. She backed away. For almost an hour, she sat in the kitchen staring at the closed bathroom door. Then the portal updated again. Replace cracked bathroom mirror. Status: canceled. Notes: resident avoided visual confirmation. For 1 second, Rachel felt relief. Then a new line appeared. Clean blood from laundry room threshold. Status: scheduled. The laundry room was downstairs beside the mailboxes. Rachel grabbed her keys and went to the leasing office instead. Derek was not there. Earl was behind the counter with a stack of work tablets. He saw her and quietly shook his head. "Don't go to the laundry room," he said. "What is this place doing?" "It's not the place." "Then what?" Earl looked down at the tablet. "The system keeps a complete record. It doesn't like open outcomes." Rachel backed away. "What happens if I don't complete them?" Earl's face tightened. "Then it assigns them to someone easier." That evening, an ambulance came for Mrs. Keller in 1C. She had slipped outside the laundry room. Blood was cleaned from the threshold before police arrived. Rachel's log updated. Clean blood from laundry room threshold. Status: resolved. Resident substitution accepted. Rachel's balcony rail passed inspection. Derek emailed her a satisfaction survey. Every request under her unit had been closed. At the bottom was one final preventive item. Prepare Unit 2F for new resident walkthrough. Status: pending. Rachel still lived there. But when she opened the attachment, it showed her apartment empty, freshly cleaned, with sunlight on the carpet. In the living room, where her sofa should have been, stood a leasing sign, available Friday. Story 3: The Key Box Log. When Mara Ellis started at Cedar Row Apartments, her first real task was supposed to be simple: audit the maintenance keys. Cedar Row was a 2-building complex outside Columbus, Ohio, with brick walkways, numbered carports, and a leasing office that smelled like burnt coffee and printer toner. Every apartment had a brass key hanging in a locked cabinet behind the manager's desk. Each key had to match a sign-out sheet. Mara was told this mattered for liability. "If a tenant says we entered without notice," her manager Linda said, "the log protects us." The cabinet held 96 keys. The sign-out sheets held 97 unit numbers. Mara noticed it on her second day. Unit 118. There was no key for 118 in the cabinet. No apartment 118 on the property map. Building A went 112, 114, 116, then the laundry room. But the log showed Unit 118's key being signed out every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Same handwriting, same initials. EK. Mara asked Linda about it. Linda looked at the sheet and said, "Old storage closet." "Then why is it listed as a unit?" "It was probably converted before the renovation." "Who is EK?" Linda closed the binder. "Maintenance shorthand. Don't worry about old entries." But the entries were not old. The latest one was from last Friday. Mara kept a copy. The next Friday, she watched the key cabinet from the copy room. At 10:27, Eddie, the senior maintenance tech, came into the office. He did not open the cabinet. He did not ask Linda for anything. He only stood beside the desk for a moment, filled out the log, and left through the back door. Mara waited 5 minutes, then checked the sheet. Unit 118, key out, 10:30 a.m., EK. There was still no key missing from the cabinet. At lunch, Mara walked Building A. Then the laundry room. Between 116 and the laundry room was a blank section of brick about 8 feet wide. No door, no number, just a patched rectangle where the brick color was slightly darker. She took a photo. That afternoon, a tenant from 116 came into the office. His name was Kyle Marsh. He looked embarrassed before he even spoke. "I know this sounds stupid," he said, "but someone keeps knocking from inside my closet." Linda was not there, so Mara opened a maintenance request. Unit 116. Resident reports knocking inside bedroom closet wall. The system auto-filled a warning before she finished typing. Potential duplicate. Unit 118 access complaint. Mara stopped. There it was again. Unit 118. She clicked the duplicate. Access denied. Resident did not answer. Welfare check deferred. There was a resident name attached. Eleanor Keene. Initials EK. Mara searched the tenant database. No Eleanor Keene. No lease. No forwarding address. Nothing. But in the scanned archive, she found a paper lease from 1989. Eleanor Keene, Unit 118. Emergency contact, none. Move-out date, blank. Mara printed it without knowing why. That evening, Eddie saw the paper on her desk. His face went flat. "You don't need that." "Who is Eleanor Keene?" He looked toward Linda's closed office. "Someone management forgot to finish with." "What does that mean?" Eddie lowered his voice. "Don't open work orders connected to 118. If you see one, close it as no access." "There is no one, 18. Eddie's eyes moved to the wall behind the leasing desk. "Then it can't complain." The next Friday, Mara waited outside Building A instead of the office. At 10:30, Eddie walked to the blank brick section between 116 and the laundry room. He stood there with a clipboard. Then he knocked. 3 times. The sound was dull, like there was space behind the brick. Mara expected nothing. But a woman's voice answered from inside. "Maintenance?" Eddie said, "Annual filter check." "There's no vent in here," the woman said. Eddie wrote something on the clipboard. "Then I'll mark it unresolved." "Please don't," the woman said quickly. Eddie turned away. He saw Mara. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then the brick behind him knocked once, from the inside. Mara ran back to the office. Linda was waiting. "Sit down," she said. Mara stayed standing. "There is someone in that wall." Linda sighed, not shocked, only inconvenienced. Unit 118 was sealed after a fire code dispute. Records were supposed to be corrected. Someone answered Eddie. Linda opened a drawer and removed a thin folder. Inside were maintenance requests going back decades. No heat, no mailbox key, bathroom outlet sparking, refrigerator leaking. All from Unit 118, all marked unresolved. The newest request was dated that morning. Tenant reports office staff observing unit. Status: open. Mara's name was in the notes. Linda closed the folder. Some apartments stay in the system because removing them creates legal exposure. There is a woman in there, Linda said. There is a record in there. Mara called Columbus Code Enforcement from the parking lot. They agreed to send an inspector the following week. By Monday, the patched brick section was gone. Not opened. Gone. The wall between 116 and the laundry room had been refinished, painted, and covered with a large bulletin board advertising summer move-in specials. Mara checked the tenant database. Unit 118 no longer existed. Neither did Eleanor Keene's archive. At 10:30 that Friday, the key log printed automatically. Unit 118, key out, EK. Under staff present, it listed Mara Ellis. She had been at home with the flu. Linda called her 2 hours later. "We need you to come in and correct a record." Mara refused. The next day, a certified letter arrived at her apartment. It was from Cedar Row Management. Notice of abandoned property inspection. Unit 118. Scheduled Friday, 10:30 a.m. Mara had never lived at Cedar Row, but clipped to the notice was a brass key tagged with her name. On the back of the tag, in careful block letters, someone had written, "Staff must return key after entry." No apartment number was written on the envelope. Which story made the maintenance records feel the most wrong? If you want more quiet horror stories like these, subscribe to Ashlight Archives. I'll see you in the next one.